What's going on, everyone? It's Joshua here, Future Filmmaker Reviews, where I talk movies, TV, and music, giving you guys a review of a movie I was able to watch early, Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey. This is a horror take on the classic Winnie-the-Pooh stories, and this is one of the new releases of this week. This was directed and written by Rhys Frake-Waterfield, and Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet are now feral and bloodthirsty after Christopher Robin leaves 5 years for college, and they now terrorize Christopher Robin and a group of young women at a remote house. So these group of young women and Christopher Robin has to try and survive the classic tales. If you guys are new to the channel, visuals that you're seeing on screen are all the way up to my serialized and my TikTok. All of that is in the description box down below. Be sure to like the video, comment with your thoughts on Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood, Honey. Have you seen it or you not? Share this video. And if you like more stuff like this, subscribe and hit the bell for more Epictastic content. So, with that being said, let's talk about Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood, and Honey. I, obviously, like everyone else, grew up with the Winnie-the-Pooh stories, the cartoons, the books from Disney, and Winnie-the-Pooh is a part of many people's childhoods. So I can imagine that when they announced they were going to be taking the Winnie-the-Pooh and making it into a horror route after being able to be completely used for public domain, I could see either two reactions. One would be like, it could be interesting, and one would be like, they're ruining childhoods. And Winnie-the-Pooh is not only the one that's being done, they're also taking ones like Bambi and The Grinch, which they already recently had back in December. I didn't see it. And making them into a horror. So it's basically a trend of where they're taking classic, beloved classics like Bambi and Winnie-the-Pooh and such and making it more horrorless. But I went in curious and I saw the trailer, and there was two things that stood in my head. This looks ridiculously stupid, but also looks like it could be one of those entertaining guilty pleasure type scenarios. And overall, I went in with the mindset, and this movie was originally supposed to be a one-night release until that one screening got more success. And at first this was believed to be unfilmable and to be gory, and this movie is already causing a lot of controversy because it's taking classic properties and making it in horror. But how do I feel about it? Let's talk. So going into the pros of this movie is, I have to say, for the small budget that they have with this, which is not a very big budget, I have to say that this is a $100,000 independent horror film, and I have to say the makeup and the costumes of Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet are very good. I really do like the way Piglet and Winnie-the-Pooh looks. It does go into a more horror scenario, but it also manages to keep that Winnie-the-Pooh that we know and love. So I will say that made it very interesting. I can also say that the two actors who play Winnie-the-Pooh and Piglet do a very good job in this. Craig David Dowsett plays Pooh Bear, and Chris Cordell plays Piglet. And at the beginning, you see that they don't want Christopher Robin to leave, of course, but then he ends up leaving for college, which in this, he's played by Nikolai Leon. And they do a very good job of making us feel like you're kind of feeling sympathy with them. But the minute they start killing people is the more fun part of this, because even though you should be upset seeing some of your favorite childhood icons killing, there's just something about it that makes it a joy, makes it fun to watch. And this was supposed to be released in 2022, but because of the publicity and the reshoots motivated to change for a 2023 release, they decided to expand to wait until this month. And just, it's going into public domain, but I do like how twisted and how ridiculous and how extremely bizarre and nightmare fuel this movie can get, especially with Winnie the Pooh and our classic icon characters. This is something you're either going to be for or you're going to be against it. And for many Winnie the Pooh fans, I can definitely hear the outcry that what are you doing? But for me, I sat there, I was interested. I liked what it was going for. I liked the fact that you have some very creative kills here, which are very gory, very brutal, and you do like some of what this movie is going for when it comes to its kills. So I will say the practical kills, when the kills are there, when the horror is there, it's crazy, it's ridiculous, and it's sick and it's twisted. And if you're into sick and twisted horror like this without no evil or something, treat it like that, and I think you can have a very fun experience when it comes to that. And I will say there's a few interesting elements that they were playing with this horror idea that I like. I won't get into details, but I'll say it was kind of interesting to see what they were going with there. And now going into the things I didn't really like here, of course, we're going to talk about it. The acting, of course, is not the strongest here. Again, you're not coming to this for the acting, but of course, if you're going to have a Winnie the Pooh movie like this, of course, you do have to know what you're getting yourself into. But these actors who play as Christopher Robin and the girls, they are overall, they're fine. They do their job well. Not bad, not terrible, of course. They're just okay. Also, the characterization, the writing of them is not the strongest either. So, of course, if you're going into this expecting character depth and expecting a Oscar-type performance, you're going to be very disappointed because that's not what this is aiming to be. This is aiming to be a campy, ridiculous take on a classic icon. And for most people, they're going to take it the wrong way and they're not going to like it. And also, there are some slow moments, of course. There are some slow moments here. I'm not going to deny it. But overall, I will say that they do fine in that slow moments. I just feel like for the 1 hour and 40 minutes, you could have trimmed some of the slow pacing down significantly. But those are my issues here and there. And I can also say that there are maybe a few kills that are a little bit too ridiculous. But again, that's the point of this. You're going into this for the craziness. So the characters and the story and of course the acting, of course, is not going to be great. But as far as technical aspects goes, direction and cinematography and even music-wise, it's fine. But overall thoughts, if you are a Winnie the Pooh fan, you're not gonna like this as much. If you're someone who really has this very near and dear to your childhood, I will say this now. I am saying this because I'm not trying to set you guys up for failure. I'm just trying to tell you that this is not gonna go the way you think. So if you are a Winnie the Pooh fan and you don't want to see your classic icon kill, you might not want to watch. If you're someone who wants to see something interesting and see how they make this concept ridiculous, I would give it a recommendation. Again, acting is not great, the characters are not the strongest, and of course, it's not going to be an Oscar-type film, but I'm curious to see more of this Winnie the Pooh thing, the way this movie chooses to end, and bring on the scary movie fairy tale cinematic universe, I guess. So I will say What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this movie 2 different grades. In one grade, as this being a guilty pleasure that is so ridiculous and stupid, but you have to see to believe, I'm going to recommend you stream this or check it out in theaters if you want, because it's not going to be available in most countries. But if you are someone who is a diehard Winnie the Pooh fan and you're going to go into this hating it, I would recommend you skip it, because let me tell you something, there are going to be those Winnie the Pooh fans who's not going to like this. But myself personally, I had a fun time with it. It knew what it was, and you know what? I enjoyed it for what it was trying to do. So, absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for the video that you just watched. I will have my channel here, so you will like to see anything here. Click the channel icon, subscribe for more. I will also leave a video and maybe a playlist here, so in case you want to see what I'm about. As always, stay Epictasticness, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.